Every breath I take whispers your name into my soul. There are moments when I walk through the grand halls of my palace, surrounded by marble and silence, yet I hear your name in every echo. It lives in the rhythm of my heartbeat, in the soft rustle of the wind that passes through the open balcony at night. No matter how far you are, no matter how much the world demands of me, you are woven into the very air I breathe. You are the invisible melody that hums within my chest, the quiet song my soul cannot stop singing. I used to believe love was fleeting, a weakness unfit for a man raised beneath the weight of a crown. But now I know it is my strength, my lifeline, and my truth. You are the pulse that reminds me I am still human beneath the layers of gold and power. Every morning begins with the thought of you. The sunlight touches my face, and for a brief moment, I imagine it's your hand, warm and gentle, tracing the lines of my skin. I open my eyes to the duties of the day, documents, counsels, endless expectations. But in the spaces between them, I feel you. The world believes a prince's heart belongs to the kingdom, but mine, traitor as it may seem, belongs to you alone. I find myself looking at the horizon during meetings, wondering if somewhere beyond it, you are thinking of me too. The distance between us is cruel, yet somehow it binds us tighter. For love that survives in silence becomes stronger than the kind shouted in daylight. At night, when the palace sleeps and the guards' footsteps fade into the darkness, I step out into the courtyard. The stars stretch endlessly above, cold and distant, yet they remind me of your eyes, their depth, their quiet mystery. I close mine and breathe, and each breath carries your name into the heavens. Sometimes I think the universe itself listens, that it has memorized your name through me. There's a strange kind of comfort in believing that no matter how far apart we are, my every breath keeps you alive within me. You are not a memory, not a dream. You are the heartbeat that echoes in the silence after the world stops speaking. Do you know what it means to love in secret? To feel something so powerful and yet be unable to show it? The world watches me with cold eyes, expecting strength and control. But they don't see the war that rages beneath the calm. Every time I smile in public, it hides a longing too vast to be named. I have learned to play my role well, but when I return to my chambers and remove the crown, I am no longer a prince. I am a man lost in the thought of you. I trace your name in the air, whisper it to the wind, hoping somehow it will reach you, like a prayer traveling through the stars. There are times I fear that this love will be the end of me, that the world will tear us apart as it has done to countless others before. Yet even that thought does not make me wish it away. If love for you is a sin, then let the heavens condemn me, for in loving you, I have touched a kind of divinity no temple or throne could ever offer. You have made me understand that the soul does not live in the body, it lives in the person it loves, and mine, without question, lives in you. Every breath I take is not just mine, it belongs to us, to the bond that defies both reason and time. When I think of you, I do not imagine perfection, I imagine peace, the kind that exists when two souls recognize each other beyond words or reason. You are not just my desire, you are my destiny's quiet rebellion. My heart beats for you in defiance of all that stands in our way, and I would face the wrath of kingdoms before I would deny your place within me. I have fought wars for lands and crowns, but for you, I would fight for eternity itself. So if one day the world forgets my name, let it be. Let history erase the prince, the titles, the power, but let it remember that once there was a man who loved with every breath, every heartbeat, every unspoken word, and that love was you. For as long as I breathe, you will live within me. And when I take my final breath, the last whisper my soul gives to the stars will be your name. The night was heavy with silence broken only by the whisper of wind against the palace windows. I stood by the balcony, the world below swallowed by shadows, and yet my thoughts were ablaze with you. Every corner of my mind, every pulse in my veins carried the same quiet ache, your absence. I had tried to bury myself in the duties of my crown, to drown in the endless sea of responsibility, but no matter how deep I went, I surfaced with your name on my lips. There was no escaping it. You had become a part of my very breath, a rhythm my body could not unlearn. It was both my salvation and my torment, this love that had taken root so deeply, it had become my identity. I often find myself reaching for the invisible, the phantom touch of your hand, the echo of your laughter carried through memory. In the candlelight, I see your face reflected in the glass of my window, as though the universe itself conspires to keep you near. The nights are long here, colder than I ever remember, but I find warmth in the thought of you. It's strange how distance can make love grow fiercer, sharper, more consuming. Every moment without you feels like a silent war, a battle between what I am expected to be and what I truly am. The world may know me as their prince, but in truth, I am merely a man haunted by the echo of a woman who holds my soul. Sometimes, when the castle sleeps and the torches flicker low, I imagine walking through the city streets as an ordinary man, just to feel the world without the weight of my title. I imagine seeing you there, your eyes lighting up when they meet mine, no guards, no fear, just two hearts recognizing each other in the midst of the crowd. But it is only a dream, fragile and forbidden. Reality binds me in chains of silk and gold, while my heart longs for simplicity, for your voice calling my name without hesitation. And so, I wait for the day the universe grows kind enough to let me hold you again, without consequence. Every letter I write to you remains unsent. I seal them with wax, hide them behind old books, and pray that someday, somehow, they'll find their way to you. In those letters, I tell you everything I cannot say aloud. The loneliness behind my smile, the ache of wanting to be near you, the hope that you still think of me when the moonlight touches your window. My words bleed honesty, though no one will ever read them. They are my confessions to the stars, my offerings to the love I must protect in silence. If you could see them, you'd know that every word trembles with your name. Sometimes I visit the garden where we once stood together, where the air still feels alive with your laughter. The roses have grown wild now, their petals soft and open beneath the sun. I run my fingers along them, remembering how you once said love is like a flower. It blooms even when no one is watching. I think of you when I hear the fountain's gentle song, and I feel as though time itself pauses just to listen. It's in that sacred stillness that I feel closest to you, as though the world fades and only our hearts exist, whispering across distance and time. But even amidst all this longing, there is peace, because I know you are out there beneath the same sky, breathing the same air. I like to believe that somewhere, as I whisper your name to the night, you hear it, faint but familiar, carried on the wind. Love has made me patient, and it has made me fearless. The crown on my head means nothing if I cannot wear your love in my heart. I would give up all the gold in the world just to hear your voice say my name again. For all the power that surrounds me, it is your memory that truly keeps me alive. And so I continue to breathe, each breath a prayer, each heartbeat a vow. The world may separate us, time may test us, but what lives between us cannot be broken. I have learned that love does not fade with distance. It deepens, it strengthens, it becomes eternal. So until the day I see you again, I will let my every breath carry your name into the silence, knowing that somewhere, somehow, it will find you. And when it does, You will know that I never stopped loving you, not for a moment, not for a single breath. The letter arrived just before dawn, carried by a messenger who bowed low and left without a word. The seal was unmarked, no crest, no symbol, just a faint scent of jasmine that made my breath falter. My hands trembled as I broke the seal, and the first line blurred before my eyes because my heart already knew who it was from. For a moment, I simply stared at the ink, unable to believe that something so small could hold so much of my world within it. Then, as the pale light of morning spilled across the page, I began to read, and it was as though the years between us dissolved into nothing. Every word carried your voice, soft and trembling, the same melody that had haunted my dreams since the day you left. You wrote of nights spent beneath foreign skies, of the loneliness that clung to your soul like shadow. You spoke of me in whispers, how you still felt my presence in your dreams, how sometimes you turned in the dark expecting to find me beside you. And in every line, I heard the ache I had known so well, the same longing that had hollowed my chest and filled it with your memory. I could almost see your hand tracing the words, pausing where your heart grew too heavy to continue. My eyes lingered on every curve of ink, as though touching them might somehow bridge the distance that had kept us apart. When I reached the end of your letter, I pressed it to my chest and closed my eyes. The pain was sharp, but beneath it was a strange sense of peace, as if your words had brought me home again. I stood there for what felt like hours, watching the dawn bloom over the horizon. The light touched everything it could reach, the towers, the gardens, the golden roofs, and yet it felt as though it had been made only for me, only for this moment. The silence that followed was sacred, filled not with loneliness, but with a quiet understanding. Even time could not erase what we had written upon each other's souls. I thought of the years we had lost, the laughter we never shared, the days we should have spent side by side, but somehow your letter made those lost years feel less cruel. It reminded me that love is not measured by presence alone, but by endurance. We had endured through distance, through silence, through the weight of expectations neither of us had chosen. You had carried me within you as I had carried you, and that realization broke something open in me. For the first time in years, I felt whole again. As I walked through the palace garden, your words echoed in my mind. The roses were in bloom, their petals open and glistening with morning dew. I remembered your laughter there once, how it had sounded like sunlight made into sound. The memory wrapped around me, gentle and bittersweet. I wanted to believe that somewhere you were standing beneath the same kind of light, your eyes closed, your lips curved in the same faint smile you always wore when peace found you. The wind stirred the leaves, and I swear I heard your voice in its sigh, a soft reminder that love, no matter the form it takes, always finds its way back. That night, I returned to my chamber and took out every unsent letter I had ever written to you. I read them one by one, feeling the years pass through my fingers. Some were filled with longing, others with pain, and some simply with silence. The days after your letter arrived were unbearable in their stillness. Everything around me carried your presence, the rustle of curtains, the scent of the roses, even the echo of my footsteps down the long marble halls. I had tried to keep my composure, to let reason rule over the aching pool in my chest, but your words had undone every defense I had built. I found myself reading them over and over again, tracing each line as though it were a path leading back to you. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw your face illuminated by candlelight, your voice whispering through the pages, calling me home. I knew then that I could no longer remain still within the gilded cage of duty. I had to find you no matter what the world demanded of me. For nights, I walked the gardens in silence, my mind turning over plans I dared not speak aloud. The court would call it folly, perhaps even treason, for a prince to abandon his post in pursuit of love. But what is a crown worth when the heart beneath it has gone hollow? I realized that to rule without you was to live without purpose. The kingdom could have my loyalty, my service, but not my soul, not when my soul belonged elsewhere. And so I made my decision. At dawn, before the palace stirred, I would leave, not as a prince surrounded by guards and banners, but as a man searching for the only thing that ever made him truly alive. When the first light touched the horizon, I wrapped myself in a cloak and slipped through the eastern gate. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of rain and earth, and for the first time in years I felt free. The roads were empty save for the whispers of the wind and the distant cry of waking birds. With every step, the weight of my crown fell further behind me. I carried only your letter close to my heart, folded carefully within my coat. Each word was a compass guiding me forward, and I followed it like a pilgrim chasing salvation. I did not know where I would find you, only that I would, because love, when true, never loses its way. The journey was long, stretching through valleys, forests, and endless fields that seemed to mirror the ache within me. Yet even in exhaustion, hope burned steady. I met travelers along the way, merchants, farmers, wanderers, each with their own stories of love and loss. I listened, and in their tales I saw reflections of my own. Some spoke of letters carried by the wind, others of lovers separated by fate but reunited by faith. Their words became my strength. With every passing day, I felt closer to you, as though the universe itself was aligning the path beneath my feet, leading me where you waited. And then one evening, as the sun melted into the horizon, painting the world in gold, I saw a small village nestled between the hills. Lanterns flickered in its windows, and from somewhere within came the faint sound of a familiar tune, your melody. My heart stopped, then raced with a fury I had never known. I followed the sound, each step trembling with the weight of years apart, and as I turned the corner, there you were, standing beneath the same sky, your eyes lifted toward the fading light, unaware that the man who had breathed your name through every lonely night was finally there, only a breath away.